This is going to sound pretty funny, but for many years now, I have been waiting for The Accountant 2. I remember watching the first one, and soon after they announced that they had a sequel in development. But for the longest time, it was sort of in this cryo state. Like, it will probably happen someday, just don't know when. But lo and behold, almost 9 years after the release of the first movie, we are getting the sequel, and it'll be out in theaters this weekend. In this movie, you once again follow Christian Wolf, played by Ben Affleck, whose special set of skills are needed when he receives a message from someone he once knew, and he's called on to find some terrible people who might be engaging in incredibly awful activities and bring them to justice. For this mission, however, he brings on his brother Braxton, played by Jon Bernthal once again, as well as Treasury Director Mary Beth Medina, played by Cynthia Addai-Robinson, and they all have to work together and stop whoever is doing these awful things before it's too late. The first movie is actually one of those for me that is in that list of movies that you'll constantly defend, that you'll always be in the corner for. I remember walking out of it in 2016 and just thinking, this is really good. And the reception that I was seeing from critics was very mixed and all over the place. I think a lot more found, sort of like came around on it over time. But that was something that I really liked from the get-go. And so naturally, I was very excited to see what the sequel was going to be like. This one does things a little differently, though. It's not exactly like the first movie, which was a little more serious, and there was a few more things to that, which were a little more to, just the dramatic aspects of the story. This one also has that, but then there are some more tongue-in-cheek elements to it, especially when it comes to Christian and Braxton, because these are two brothers who've been separated for the longest time, and now that they're working together, there's a lot of long lost time between them, which is just being made up for now, and they're able to find some common ground to hopefully connect on. And it leads to one of my favorite aspects of the new movie, which is just this brotherly bond between the two of them. Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal are fantastic in the movie. They are extremely funny, in fact, in this, and I actually really liked their back and forth. The banter between them, it comes so naturally. It really does feel like you're seeing two brothers bicker with each other. And it's also really funny because both of them have, the similar professions. So they both have very interesting stories to exchange with one another and a very specific kind of humor that works with them. And the dynamic that eventually is between them is easily one of the highlights of the film. All the performances are honestly really good in this movie. I thought director Medina, played by Cynthia Addai-Robinson, I thought she did a really good job. I thought J.K. Simmons once again as Ray King was really good. I also really liked Daniela Pineda in this movie. She is someone I'm not really going to go into because I don't think they've shown much of her in the marketing, but I really liked her character in this movie. I thought she did a really great job. I was trying to remember where I saw her for the longest time, and then I remembered she was in Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, and Dominion. And she also played Faye Valentine in the Cowboy Bebop reboot that happened on Netflix. But she did a really good job here, and I really liked what her character was up to, and I thought the storyline with her character was also really interesting. Which brings me to the narrative, because much like the first movie, it's kind of this jumbled up puzzle where a lot of things aren't connecting until they eventually do. And I kind of like the structure of the movie because when it starts off, there's a lot of information that you're given and none of it is making any sense. But just like the first movie, as it goes on, you start to get more and more answers and you start to get more and more context into what's going on and what has been shown to you. And the way that it manages to put everything together once again, I thought they did a really good job with that in the first movie, and they've done a really good job with it over here. And again, in this case, still managing to be very funny and having just a very entertaining time with it. I was surprised at how much of the movie I just had a big smile on my face throughout, because there are so many scenes between Affleck and Bernthal just joshing it out, and it's great. Like I thought that was so well handled, and it just never took away from the momentum of the movie, which this moved pretty fast for me. I think it's a little longer than the original movie was, but it never really felt that way to me. I was so locked in. In fact, I will take more of these. I know they're already making a third one. They already seem to have it in development. make as many as you want, man. Like, because there's just so much fun that is there with the character of Christian, and just there's the stuff that he's getting into, and just how he's able to put together certain things in his mind. And I thought they handled that very nicely. That was something I really liked in the first movie too, and it brings me to a positive from that to here, which is it never tries to use him being autistic as a crutch. I really like that there is a strength to that his disability, or any character's disability, because the first movie establishes there's more than one character in play in that sense, none of them are, being shown to be like weaker. In fact, if anything, they're shown to be incredibly badass characters who can do some really cool shit. And that's something that's very much in the second movie too. And I really like that. I thought that was a really, really cool aspect of it. That was my take on it, at least. I know that there were some who didn't really love the portrayal, so I'm curious as to, how you guys feel about it overall. I do have flaws with the movie. I think much like the first one, when it comes to the big villain, there's not a lot that's very interesting about the villain beyond a certain point. Yes, they're both doing really messed up things, but they're kind of sidelined for the most part. You don't learn too much about them past a certain point. And in the first movie, it was John Lithgow, and over here, the villain who we have, he's there. It's that kind of thing. And there are some times where it can be, even though I understand it's a jumbled piece, narrative, much like the first movie, sometimes it can be a little too jumbled for its own good. But it eventually does bring it around overall, and I think it does a pretty solid job by the end. So at the end of the day, I just really like The Accountant too. I feel like these movies are just kind of tailor-made for me. I just really enjoy them. And I'm looking forward to seeing a third one whenever that happens. I can't wait to see this again. I actually can't wait to see this with my dad, because he loved the first one, and I feel like this one will be even more up his alley. And that'll be really a fun experience. I'm very sure of it. And I'm going to give The Accountant 2, and no joke, 9 out of 10. I gave the first one 9. That's true. I thought it was really great. So, yeah, like I said, tailor-made for me. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe. And I'll see you guys at the movies.